But I need my president to tell me why I worked so hard all these years, all these decades.
Oh, that's a slap in the face, because that's your government, the people that you voted in, put them there. In the last 16 years, the Democratic Party has had the House. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I'm Qua. I'm the host of Quality TV. This is the channel that you're on right now. It's called Quality TV. I'm gonna just do a little video here on why I'm choosing to vote Donald Trump this year in the election. I'm not trying to persuade anybody. I'm just kind of giving my insight on why I'm choosing. Let's get into the video. Guys, so here's the first clip. I'm just gonna show a video on the difference between Trump's economy and Biden's economy.
Day 4 of the Republican National Convention tonight, and one thing he's likely to address is the economy. So what did the economy look like under the Biden and Trump administrations? ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous is here to break that down for us. Hi, Alexis.
Hey, Diane. Yeah, the pandemic helped to define the economic records of both Presidents Biden and Trump. The COVID crisis upended the job market, it ignited inflation, and it added trillions to our federal debt. But despite the economy's rapid recovery, President Biden is struggling to convince Americans that they're better off today than they were 4 years ago. The most recent ABC News Ipsos poll finds more Americans trust Trump's handling of the economy over Biden's. So we're taking a look at 5 major areas of the economy and how Biden and Trump each left their mark. And first, I want to start with the job market, because as you can see, during the Trump administration, solid jobs being added month after month. In fact, the unemployment rate was at 3.5%. That's a half-century low. And then, of course, things drop like a rock. We lose millions of jobs during COVID, and the huge snap back when the economy reopens, jobs are added at its low.
So the huge snapback that they're talking about is when everybody went back to work from COVID. That's the huge snap that they're talking about. The report came out that they've been padding the stats of the jobs. Like they're lying about the amount of jobs that the economy has added since Biden took office. But you can look up that report yourself. Continue the video.
Was the unemployment rate at 3.4%. And during the Biden administration, 15 plus million jobs have been added overall to our economy. All right, want to take a look now at inflation, because some experts believe trillions in COVID-related stimulus handed out by both administrations, remember, led to higher prices coupled with supply chain shocks. So let's take a look at inflation, because it was.
All right, so when it comes to inflation, the 3 things that matter, I want you guys to try to remember that. The 3 things that matter is supply chain, overspending, and the Federal Reserve. Those are the 3 main things you need to remember when you hear the word inflation. They're going to show you why it matters.
Under control during the Trump administration until the recession. Then we saw inflation fall to nearly zero when the economy shut down. And then we saw it snap back up in a big way when the economy started to reopen. And at its highest, inflation was at 9.1% in June of 2022. It's come down dramatically, but still we have prices 3% above where they were just a.
So if you look at this graph here, when you overspend, you inflate the economy. So it went down in the middle because the spending stopped, the government shut down. And then it went all the way up because there was so much money in the economy.
Inflation led the Fed to hike interest rates. Let's take a look at where they were during the Trump administration.
During that time, once they flooded the system with all this money, $9 trillion to be exact, what the Federal Reserve did, they went and bought assets. They went and just bought assets. But the economy collapses, what is going to be the next form of value? Tangible things, not money, not current paper currency. So the Federal Reserve, they went and bought all the assets and like interest rates.
Near historic lows, well below 3%. Then, of course, they hit near zero during COVID. And the Fed had to start emergency cuts of interest rates to try to fuel the economy again. Oh, boy, did it ever. And we saw prices take off, inflation took off, and the Federal Reserve had to respond by hiking interest rates 11 times. It was unprecedented.
That 11 times that they took the interest rate up, who's paying for that money? we've been paying for that. We've been paying the interest rates on the money that they gave us for inflation reduction.
And that, of course, led us to a big jump in home prices. Those higher rates, a major reason why buying a home is out of reach for so many Americans today. So we have home prices hanging around $300,000, $330,000 during the first part of the Trump administration. The recession hits. Working from home becomes a thing during COVID. We saw a demand spike. Couldn't keep up with the supply. And of course, we saw home prices up. Now they're averaging more than $400,000 in this country. But during this time, between the spring of 2020 and late 2022, a 35% jump.
Dude, it went from 330 for a home to 400,000. That's $70,000. And then on top of that, Kamala's plan to help people out with that, you're going to give out $25,000 to $45,000 to buy a home for first-time home buyers. Like, here's the thing: with $25,000 to $45,000, you're gonna get that home. There's no doubt in my mind that you're gonna be able to get that home. But once you get in there, with the rate inflation is going, once you get in there, you're not gonna be able to pay for that. The interest rate is gonna be way too high, and then on top of that, that is inflationary spending. Like, the money that they're gonna give the first-time home buyers. Who's paying for that? We're paying for that. And here's the thing: throwing money isn't always a problem. We got enough resources here in America to solve Americans' problems. My thing is, if you want to help me out, I'll do something for single dad. If American works 40 hours a week, maybe more, give them food stamps or something. Give them something to make it easier. Or if you work a certain amount of hours a week, you can give me the tax credit that she's proposing. Give me that and free childcare. Like, stuff like that is what Americans need. I'm a regular American. I'm not rich by or wealthy by any means. I'm struggling out here. And these are the things that will help me. But if I can't get that, at least I can get cheaper gas, lower energy costs to feel secure in my country and not have to worry about somebody else taking my place as an American.
In home prices, folks. And that mainly is because interest rates also doubled during that time. They're now at around 7%. And finally, just want to take a look at gas prices, because we're all impacted by gas prices. Presidents have very little control over them, by the way, but it's one area where the Trump era was definitely better.
That's cap. Presidents do have control over gas prices. If we drill and use our own oil, our gas is going to be cheaper. Instead of like buying it and importing it somewhere else, we can just use our own gas. That's going to lower our gas costs.
For Americans, you can see gas well below $3 a gallon for his presidency. COVID hits, gas prices were actually at $1.84 a gallon in this country because the economy shut down. And then, of course, things spiked when the economy reopened. And I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, we had gas prices above $5 a gallon. So that could be a big reason why those higher pump prices could help explain some of the pessimism Americans are feeling right now about their finances. Diane?
Alexis Christoforous, thank you.
All right, we got a clip here from Rick Scott and Ron Johnson, Old White Dude 1 and Old White Dude 2. But they know what they're talking about, so let's hear what they got to say.
Venezuelans, because they're fed up with Maduro's socialism.
So how does being here help Trump win?
Get the message out. We're here to explain the difference between the two of them.
Yeah, again, I don't think we can overstate the importance of the contrast between people who have the experience in the private sector, know how an economy works, and career politicians that don't have a clue. And like I say, just take a look at Vice President Harris's proposals. I mean, they literally are a fantasy. Again, they may sound good. Oh, prices are never going to go up again. That's not the way the world works. You know, Donald Trump understands that. She obviously doesn't. I'd say another reason I'm here is having been.
All right. So my opinion on this is, I know I get a lot of people say, a lot of black people mostly, they say they tired of old white man running the country. But when you think about it, nobody really knows how to run the country better than these old white guys who've been doing it for a long time. And even from when I was a kid, when we used to hear Donald Trump, the name Donald Trump, it was synonymous with money. Not being a Republican, but all of a sudden, since he came out to run for president and a Republican, nobody likes him anymore. I don't understand that. But these old white dudes know what they talk about when it comes to the country.
Homeland Security, I mean, I was monitoring the situation at the border for years. You know, under President Obama. By the way, he sparked this with DACA. That was the first, and that is the proximate cause of all these other subsequent border crises, is his unlawful deferred action on childhood arrivals. But, you know, I've been tracking this, and I saw how Donald Trump successfully dealt with the issue. Brought it down from his peak, about 5,000 a day, just for 1 month, down to a little over 500. President Biden, in December 2020, averaged 10,000 people a day. 7,000 people per day over his entire administration. One day he had 14,000 people a day, illegal immigration. That impacts the economy. There are reports in New York.
I don't understand why people don't get how bad the migrant crisis is. They're literally taking food out of our mouths. Born and raised here in America. They're coming over here and get benefits that we don't have, and we are born and raised here. They're just getting those for being here. And why would we put the person who was in control of the border back into office? It's like everything she did or didn't do is now erased because she's running for president. We got to be smarter than that. We have to be smarter than that. Black people, like, if you're born around my time, you're in your 30s, we too big to keep voting Democrat and seeing that there's no results done. Like, we're too over that.
Spending billions of dollars on their illegal immigration problem. Chicago, they can't have, they're spending, I heard that on news report, $800 million. That's money that's not available for taking care of the citizens in Chicago, in New York City, and this is happening all around the country. So their open border, again, the negative consequences, we'll be feeling those for years, if not decades to come, but they have a very definite economic impact. And particularly for people at the lower end of the income spectrum, people looking for entry-level jobs, they're the ones that are going to be competing with illegal immigrants that are being hired by unscrupulous employers. This isn't good for anybody. Like Senator Scott said, I'm all for illegal immigration, tied to our economy, controlled. This illegal immigration is awful for our economy and for Americans.
Couple more.
I don't know, y'all. We got to be smarter than that. Like, I'm going to show another clip. It's a black lady who had an encounter with immigrant. And I want to gauge your reaction on how it makes you feel once you see how it made her feel. We can talk about it in the comments. And if you made it this far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. But let me get right into that clip for you guys.
I need this message to go out to our vice president who's running for president. I have heard all over social media about, excuse me if I say anything wrong, immigrants getting loans, money. It was hard for me to believe. It was just extremely hard for me to believe. I've been in business such a long time. Back in 2019, I purchased my first food truck. It cost me over $25,000. I paid it cash money.
Yo, did you see the joy that this lady had on her face when she talked about her food truck? Like, she was so happy. Like, it really meant something to her that she actually paid for it cash. But let me let her talk.
Worked hard to pay for this truck. I'm now selling it because I'm doing other things, but I'm selling it. I had a guy come to look at purchasing my vehicle, or my food truck. And he explained to me he's an illegal immigrant. He has no credit. He has no money in the bank. But he showed me his paperwork that he will receive funds to purchase my food truck. I'm thankful that he's buying it, but I'm hurt that I worked so hard to pay cash for my food truck. I have good credit. can't even get a business loan because of the color of my skin. I have veterans in my family. I'm a veteran. I've been self-employed for so long. But
Yo, that same joy that she had when she was talking about her food truck, look at what happened to it. Just look at what happened to it. Even though she's getting paid for it, but I can understand where the hurt comes from.
somebody, please tell me, how do I work so hard to have somebody who comes to this country, not long, no credit, and he shows me paperwork where they'll be funding him money to buy my food truck. And when I talked to the bank, they told me usually they have to go straight to a dealership because I'm a private sale. But for special circumstances, they're going to, they allow it. But I need my president to tell me why I worked so hard all these years, all these decades. Couldn't get a business loan, but I bust my ass to get the money to create my business. And we got immigrants coming here. And they're getting money. Money! We're doing nothing.
That's wild, y'all. She real sad. I mean, it's hard to look at in a way because we've been here. We run on the same hamster wheel all the time, and it seems like we can't never get any relief. This woman is real hurt. I mean, even though he's gonna give her some money for it, that's a slap in the face because that's your government, the people that you voted in, put them there. The last 16 years, the Democratic Party has had the House. 4 out of the 4 years, those 4 years, it was a little better. But it's insanity for us to keep doing the same things over and over, and this is what we get. This is what happened to regular everyday citizens, the people that work hard. But until next time, peace, love, and fish grease.